All right, scene 6. The hot boys and torches enter King.
Wait, the hot boys?
It says hot boys, H-A-U-T boys, and torches.
Yeah.
I guess they're like little boys that go ahead of the procession. Enter the king.
Oh, I thought they were like hot, like
no,
W-H.
It says hot, H-A-U-T. Ask Alexa what's a hot boy. See if she knows. Also, so there's King Duncan,
Alexa,
Krispy Kreme donuts.
What does a hot mean?
Hot boy.
Hot has a few uses as a noun. 1. The locus of feelings and intuitions. 2. The hollow muscular artery
Stop.
behind the sternum.
Alexa, stop.
Alexa. Okay, say what you need.
Alexa, what is a hot boy?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Try
Okay.
again.
No, we've got to finish reading. We're almost at our time.
Oh, shoot. We
Yeah.
are. We're at 29 minutes.
Yeah, we got to hurry. We got to see if we can make it through scene 6. Hot boys and torches enter King Duncan, Malcolm, Donald, Bain, Banquo, Lennox, Macduff, Ross, Angus, and attendants. So a bunch of people. Duncan.
Bunch of crap? Say that?
A bunch of crowd.
Oh, I thought
Duncan,
you said...
this castle has a pleasant seat. So he's like, nice place, Macbeth. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses. Banquo, this guest of summer, the temple-haunting martlet, does approve by his lovely mansionry that the heaven's breath seems wooingly here. No jutty, frieze, buttress, nor coign of vintage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle, where they must breed and haunt. I've observed the air is delicate. Enter Lady Macbeth. Duncan.
The psychopath.
The King Duncan. C.C., our honored hostess, the love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which still we think is love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God ild us for your pains and thank us for your trouble. Lady Macbeth says, all our service in every point twice done, and then done double. So she says, we're working as hard as we can to make your stay nice. We're poor in single business to contend against these honors deep and broad, wherewith your majesty loads our house. For those of old and the late dignities heaped upon them, we rest your hermits.
Ooh, girl, like, I know that she's definitely gonna be, that the king's literally gonna die. Because when somebody acts that, you know they're gonna get on your murder
Well, he
list.
should know because remember the last guy, the last Thane of Cawdor was a treason too, and he had no way of telling. So Duncan says, where's the Thane of Cawdor, her husband? We coursed him at the heels. So we've chased right after him, and he had a purpose to be his purveyor. But he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath holp him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guests tonight. So he thinks that Macbeth was riding so fast to get home to his wife, but the truth was he was riding home to tell his wife that the king was coming. And Lady Macbeth says, your servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs in compt, to make their audit at your highest pleasure, shall to return to your own.
So they went to the same place, but the king got there first somehow.
No, Macbeth got there first. Macbeth arrived there first, yeah. Let's see. And finally the king says, give me your hand, conduct me to mine host. We love him lightly, and shall continue our graces toward him By your leave, hostess. And they all exuent. Scene 7. Hot boys, torches, enter a sewer and divers servants with dishes in service and pass over the stage and then enter Macbeth. So it's dinner time. Macbeth, and this is when Macbeth starts to have second thoughts. He says,
Second thoughts.
"If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his success, that but this blow might be the be-all and end-all. But here, upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. But in these cases, we still have judgment here, and that we but teach bloody instructions, which, being taught, return to plague the inventor. The even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poison chalice to our own lips." So he's saying that by killing someone, you're really creating problems for yourself that you're going to deal with. It's like drinking poison. He's here in double trust. So now he's pointing out that the king is trusting him to be here. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, and then as his host. So he's a guest in my house. Strong. Who should against his murder shut the door?
If they're just saying murder is like something that stays in your conscience forever and ever and ever and ever, you know?
Yeah.
And that breaks you into insanity, right? Just having that on your conscience.
Yeah. Well, I think that's exactly where this is going. So he says,
well,
who...
That's it for Macbeth.
Who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself? Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek. So meek. So he's a meek. He's not a mean person. Hath been so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels. So he's really a good guy. The angels even like him. Trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity like a naked newborn babe, striding the blast.
I have the newborn babe right here. You guys can see them.
Or heron's cherubim.
Can you guys see them? They're like right
Horrors upon the slightest careers of the air shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which overleaps itself and then falls on the other. Now enters Lady Macbeth.
Macbeth.
How now, he says to her, what news?
Lady Macbeth.
And she says, he has almost supped, so he's almost eaten dinner. Why have you left the chamber? Macbeth, hath he asked for me? Lady Macbeth, know you not that he has? Macbeth, we will proceed no further in this business. So he's put his foot down. I'm not going to do it. He hath honored me of late, and I have brought golden opinions from all sorts of people. So people like me now. I don't want to murder anybody. I'm famous.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm popular. I'm stylish. Not really.
But wait till you hear what she says. Golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside too soon. Lady Macbeth says, was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since? In other words, have you lost your nerve? And wakes it now to look so green and pale that it did so freely? From this time, so I account thy love. So in other words, she's saying, this is how I knew you loved me, because you were going to kill this man to become queen. and thou art afeard to be the same in thine own act and
I
valor
feel like
as thou art in desire. In other words, if you love me, if you really desired me,
if you
you
love
would do
me,
this,
let
right?
me kill
Wouldst thou have
do.
Wouldst thou have that which thou esteem the ornament of life, and live a coward? She called him like she went there,
Don't
and
go
live
there,
a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage.
No.
And Macbeth says, "Prithee, peace.
Peace.
I dare do not all that may become a man who dares do more is none." And Lady Macbeth says, "What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me?" In other words, why did you bring this up in the first place? When you durst so, then you were a man. Oh, she went there. She was saying he was a man when he was going to murder. And so,
Man.
and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man, nor time nor place. Burnt in desire. Oh, wait. Oops. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves in their fitness now. Does unmake you. I've given suck. And
Suck.
yeah, and no,
Suck.
no, listen, she's saying, so I've been a mother, I've taken care of your children. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done this. So that's what she's saying, is by changing his minds, it's as if she had taken her own child and dashed its brains out on the ground.
That doesn't make sense though, because you don't do that.
Well, that's what she's saying, is you would just as soon change your mind about something that's important as I would have dashed her own child's brains
That's
out.
really
Yeah.
stupid, because if you're a mother, you wouldn't do that.
But she's not. Remember, she said that she was not going to be like a woman or a mother. She was going to be a cold, ruthless man. It's interesting, and a lot of people look at Lady Macbeth as
Did you just said?
I'm sorry, as the Scottish
You
lady.
got it.
All right, you got me on that one. Hold on.
I get the giant book. Even though you can't see it, it's like this glowy, godlike thing. It's weird. Oh, guys. Okay, so you can't even see it. No, you have to do the thing. No. No, you didn't. But, like, guys, look at that. Like, no. No. Look at this. This is so cute. Like, that's adorable.
I'm not gonna read anymore.
I'll come in like in a second. Okay, there we go.
Can you come in?
No, do it again. Hello?
Can I come in?
Who is this?
This is Scottish King.
Oh, I thought you died. Okay, you can come in. Sorry. Didn't mean to be a butt about it. But, like, I was having a close-up view of these guys. Like, oh my gosh, they're so cute.
Nope.
No,
That
you're
was so
good.
good.
You're good. You're good.
All right. Well, some say that Lady Macbeth was like the first feminist. You know?
She was a hardcore feminist.
She was.
Like, she was one of those, like, crazy feminists. Now, thankfully, I'm a woman, so I can take all this stuff without, like, having feminists come after me. Oh my gosh. Hello. What are you... You're literally using me. He's literally using my back as a, you can't see it.
All right, we got to finish. We're almost done with Act 1. All right, so, and Macbeth says, if we should fail, and Lady Macbeth says, we fail, But screw your scourge to the
Screw
sticking...
you!
No, screw your scourge to the sticking place. Do you know what that means?
No.
You know what the sticking place is? That is where when you have a crossbow,
Oh.
and you pull the crossbow back and have it cocked and ready, and then you put your when you put the arrow in, the part that you put it into to hold it is called the sticking place.
Huh.
So she's saying, get your crossbow cocked and ready.
Dang.
Screw your courage to the sticking place and will not fail. When Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him. So he's going to be tired.
Of course he's going to be tired.
His 2 chamberlains will I with wine and wassail, so convinced that memory, the water of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a line back only. In other words, she's going to give them something to make sure that they pass out. And when in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie as in death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of the great quell? In other words, they'll blame the officers who fell asleep for the murder of the king. And Macbeth says, bring forth men children only.
Men children? Baby!
For thy undoubted metal should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy 2 of his chamber, and use their very daggers that they have not done it? So they're going to, once they fall asleep, steal their daggers and then mark them up with blood.
Oh, I forgot.
So, and
that that they didn't have detections that means.
Yeah, they didn't have DNA.
Yeah, of course.
And Lady Macbeth says, who dares receive it other? In other words, they'll have to believe it, as we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death. And Macbeth, I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what false heart doth know. Excellent. How you like that? False face must hide what the false heart doth know. And so that's the end of Act 1, Scene 1. So it's not looking good for King Duncan Krispy Kreme
Man.
Scotland. And so any other thoughts before we take it out?
Yes, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to I'm actually going to update my walls, so this won't be...
Oh, yes, some
walls.
exciting changes coming.
Yeah. Well, not very exciting. I'll do a room tour, not, because my room's messy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and that's going to happen. And I have a question of the day. We're going to do these. Okay. So, what do you think, if you were writing Macbeth, you know, what would you put in? Like, would you add Macbeth coughing or something like that? You know, like, what would you do? All right, that was the question of the day. Get into the outro. Hold on, let me just get into a part. Alright, subscribe, like, put that share button on, because, you know, no one does it, but you have to. And then, turn up. Hold on, it's overtaking the whole thing. Okay, and just comment anything you want. One day we will reply and say, hey, you're cool, because you did that comment.